Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of On the Boundary. Just two coaches chatting cricket. I don't know why I keep forgetting this. For some reason, I always maybe we need to change it. Coach R, how are you?
I'm good, Coachy. I'm good, Coachy. Just hectic schedule, but yeah, we're good.
Yeah, hectic schedule and hectic cricket. We lost to New Zealand. I don't know how many times we've lost to them in a row. It's starting to stress me now because I don't like losing to New Zealand. But yeah, we are still champions. We said we'll keep reminding the people that we are still Test champions, and the Test mace went to Elanga or Kwalanga, I don't know, but I think it's Elanga in Cape Town, where the captain is from. But I wasn't following that. I wasn't following that. How's the excitement of being a Test champion, Coachy? Do you think now you've sort of moved on from that, or are you still in the celebratory mood that the part of the country is still in?
I think we're still allowed to celebrate. We're still allowed to celebrate. We haven't seen a lot of those players since the Test Championship. People like Temba, people like Aiden, Rabada. We haven't watched them play cricket again. So I think we're still allowed to celebrate full-heartedly. On that longer trip, I was happy to see that it wasn't just one or two of them, and it was quite a
Yeah,
decent number of people who went down there. I also didn't follow it as much, but I was happy with the representation that went through there. It wasn't just left up to Kemba to go back home. Uh, the the squad brought it along.
I wish they could pass by PE on the way back to Gauteng, but it's probably not going to happen. There's been quite a lot of cricket going on. India, West Indies, and I think we actually spoke a bit about this. It's been Test cricket mostly, but I saw West Indies and Australia playing T20 cricket, and we might make a bit of reference to them when we are talking about the main topic for today, which is our tri series against Zimbabwe and New Zealand. I think they've played West Indies and Australia have played two T20s, and both of them the scores were over 200. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, both times the chasing team won, chasing 200. But before we get into that, there's been the SA under 19 boys have been playing. We played a series against Bangladesh. We got hammered. I'm not gonna lie. Um, we had our behinds handed over to us on a very big plate. But for me, from a coaching perspective, I think it's one of those things. I think players learn more from such experiences than they do from winning. We played Zimbabwe, I think early this year or last year, late last year. We won that. I think it was a 5 match series. We played Namibia not so long ago. We beat them, but you also want to play against these sides that are challenging. And one thing a lot of people don't understand is the gap between teams like Bangladesh and the teams that we're used to seeing win in senior cricket. The gap is a bit smaller in junior cricket. I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Coach. Just in general, our SA under 19, whether it doesn't matter whether you've been following them lately or, but I know you know something about them. Do you think we are on the right track in terms of how we go about things? Or do you think we need to get to a point where the focus is just winning at under 19 level and not developing players as we've been doing over the last couple of years?
Uh, for me, under 19 cricket or any age group cricket is always development and us getting ready for senior cricket. So I will always feel that that is the most important. What comes out of these under 19s and what gets into professional cricket. But I feel the exposure is what is needed at under 19 now for us to bridge that gap. Going into things like under 19 tournaments, we usually have a very strong team going in there. team that is ready to compete with any nation. Yes, we've only won one a long time ago, but we always there and thereabout, good enough to compete with these teams. So us losing badly to teams like Bangladesh might look bad to people who don't follow the sport, but we've always been behind at the early stages with to some of these subcontinent teams because they play cricket religiously and they their development is a little further ahead usually. They play more games, which is where we are starting to catch up. We are trying to play, as you said, more series. We tour Bangladesh, we play series against Namibia. So the more cricket these boys play, the more results we'll get. Talent will never be in question. We as South Africans always have talent on cricket field, even during this under 19 test match series against Bangladesh, where we got Hamid, people like Sony, people like the young batsmen. We got some runs going in there. We've got some talent showing. We just can't put it on together on a consistent basis for us to be competing with these teams for now. As I say for now, because come World Cup time, I feel like things will be closer again. Most teams will be on a level playing field. And by that time, hopefully we will be able to show our talent and come out on top.
Yeah, no, that's very true, Coach. And I think you made a very valid and important point about playing. If you look at how the boys batted when the series started against Bangladesh, they were struggling. But then last game, we got someone scoring a 150 plus very massive 100. So the more they play, the better they get. We lost by 1 wicket, I think, to them yesterday again in a low scoring match. So that series we played against them sort of upskilled our players to a point where they got to a point where now they can compete with this Bangladesh guys. And like you said, the guys, Bangladesh, they play cricket at an early age. And the other reason is a bit controversial, so I'm not really going to say it. But someone on my Facebook said it's a bit hard for the under 19 boys to compete with 30-year-olds. But I do not want to get into trouble. But yeah, SA under 19 boys are currently in Zim, playing against Zim and Bangladesh. We've beaten Zim. We lost to Bangladesh, I think, twice. The first game against them we lost, and yesterday we lost just by 1 wicket, defending a very small total. The boys showed great fight. But yeah, still in Zim. Our T20 side is in Zim. I don't want us to talk too much about our games against Zimbabwe. No disrespect to our neighbors, no disrespect to our African brothers, but when it's Proteas against Zimbabwe, I always expect the Proteas to come up on top. It's the series against Zimbabwe, tri-series. We lost the tri-series. We could not beat New Zealand in either of the matches we played against them. We couldn't beat them. Made it to the final because we beat Zimbabwe, and we lost in the final. What are your general thoughts in terms of our T20 team at the moment? Just bearing in mind that we don't necessarily have our A side. But what are your general thoughts in terms of how we went about the series against Zimbabwe? Do you have any things that you say maybe you picked up in terms of how we play or anything like that?
So going into the series, even before we went there, I said I just wanted a few things to be ticked and us to look at performances more than us getting the victories. But I did mention that I would like to beat New Zealand, even if it was at least once, even if it wasn't the final.
Yeah.
It looked like we would get the win in the final, but we can't chase 7 of 7. Other than that, positives were Luandre, 1 inning, Devil Brevis, I feel he didn't get a big score. He still doesn't have a 50, I think, in T20s, but he was a real positive in how he approached the game. Yes, the ball that he got out to in the final was how we want him to play. So I wouldn't bash him too much. It's that for six, we need one of five, and get over the line. But those two with the batting, another one, he didn't perform in the final, but Ruben Herman, he also put in a performance. I'm not sure when we will see him again, and because sometimes these performances come at the wrong time, but that's the only chance he had. So that's the only time he could give us his performance. Another thing I take out is maybe it is time to look past some of these old guys. Maybe it is time.
It's not the first time you're saying that, Kochi. This time you're being blunt. This time you're being straightforward, and I like that.
Because honestly, the final was lost because we couldn't get runs from some of these old guys. The innings that were played were a little old-fashioned. So losing by what, 3 or 4, whatever it ended up being at the end, and having someone scoring 30 at a runner ball is not on. So that's where you look back and say, this is where we lose games. The bowling wasn't always the greatest, but Lungi brought in, I think, 2 or 3 good performances, including the one in the final. That's what we asked for, some rhythm for Lungi. More games for Gwena. Gwena is getting more games. I was a little shocked, might be the wrong word, but didn't understand why Linda didn't bowl as much as she could have. Yes, he did. He didn't go as well as he was hoping to, but I feel like he could have bowled a little bit more.
It was the second time that he only bowled 1 over, I believe, in the tour. So I also don't understand whether it's a captaincy thing. It's the captain that doesn't, because sometimes it happens. The captain doesn't rate you, and if the captain doesn't rate you, then I'm sorry, my brother. Whatever you do in the nets is not gonna matter. So, but yeah, you can carry on, coach.
Yeah, exactly that. Your 11 and over might look worse than someone's 15 and over if the captain doesn't like you. So we're used to that. We've been through things like that. But that was weird for me because his balance changer in the lineup. So if you got Linda playing and Linda performing, that boosts the team a lot. So I think that was the opportunity miss. Other bowlers like the other spinner, Mutsami.
Mutsami, yeah.
He has took his chance there. So we've got, I feel like we've got the performances I was looking for, but not the team performance. And especially against New Zealand, I thought we had done it in the final, but just fell short.
Yeah, people are saying we choked. I don't know how much of that is true. I don't think we were ever in the position to win the match. Devil Brevis did bring us back in, but I don't think we were ever on top, and that's where choking comes in. But I've come to realize that whenever the Proteas lose, it's a choke. So I decided I'm never going to take people seriously when it comes to the choke thing. Coach, you know how social media is. You know how people are on social media, and Ukwen has been getting a lot of flack. Also, for him, to be honest, things have not been working out. And in terms of, I've been watching him, and for me, he's not bowling badly. He's not bowling poorly, especially in the T20s. He wasn't bowling poorly. I don't have a problem with Kwena bouncing a better. I don't have a problem with Kwena bowling a slower ball in T20 cricket, but it doesn't look like it's happening for him. What do you think is the reason? Is it just that, I don't know, is it a matter of, because part of me feels like he's being overbowled. I feel like he's played a bit too much cricket at the moment. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I know a lot of people feel no, he needs a bit more of first-class cricket. And I agree with that whole notion. He needs to play a bit more first-class cricket to improve his bowling with the red ball. But I also feel like since he made his debut, he hasn't really rested much, which could be an issue. I don't know. But what do you think Mokoena needs to do differently, if you think there's anything that he needs to do differently?
I feel like for Kwena, it's been too much, too many forms too quickly, which is why I feel like he's struggled a bit in Test cricket, especially on the red ball, because what got us into Kwena was T20 cricket and 50 over cricket with under 19s and early on with the franchise teams, and that's where the bouncer, the slower ball, the Yorker, all come into play and work a lot. So I feel like he just needs to pigeonhole each of his games into small little pigeonholes so that he can. I still feel like T20 is where he's most polished, if I could use polished, but is still his best format at the moment because he knows how to bowl a Yorker, he knows how to bowl a quick bouncer, he's got the slower ball. Now we just need to get him to use it at the correct times, and that will always come with time. Test match cricket, he just needs to play a lot of first class cricket. That's the issue with there. I don't think I was happy with him getting a taste of Test cricket, but I don't think now with everybody coming back from injury, with all Nandre back, Lungi back, KG's around, people like that, I think he can take a back seat for now in Test cricket. He'll come back. He's still very young. But T20s here and there, we can still squeeze him through. But as we said, just play a little bit more first-class cricket. Learn your lines, learn your lanes, learn the balls that will get you more wickets. Learn which one is your dot ball. Learn which one is your give the batsman one. Because sometimes you don't need to get every batsman out every ball. Sometimes you just need to be able to get out and over, give the batsman a single, ball for your dots, things like that, and that comes with time, and he will learn that.
But I agree, Coach. And I think the other thing that we need to admit, I think a lot of people will not like this, or they will not necessarily agree. I think giving Mokoena a national contract was a bit premature. I understand he's talented, he's got a very high ceiling, but I do think him getting a contract was a bit premature. But then again, you don't give it to Mokoena, then you give it to who? But also, again, at the same time, you are not forced to give a contract to someone. You can have fewer contracted players if there's not enough players to give contracts. So I think it was a bit premature, because now I'm thinking going into the next contracting season, what's going to happen? Will they drop him from a contract, or because now? But then that's not for us coaches to worry about. We our focus is on the coaching part of things. But yeah, you mentioned the world that final. I missed the final because I was in the same situation you are in tonight. Electricity just went off, but I was following on Crick Info, and I was following on social media. And one of the most important things about chasing a big-ish total, because I think the total we were chasing was a bit big, 120 balls, we're chasing the total. I think one of the most important things is for your top three, to a phrase that we use in cricket is break the back of the chase. I think we needed 2 from our top 3 to break the back of that run chase. Luandre Pretoria said, I'll be one of them. And then it was between the 2 most experienced players. And that's what really hurts me. I think we spoke about this. We questioned why they're in the squad. And before I carry on, one thing I need people to understand is us questioning why players are in the squad has nothing to do with how we feel about the players personally. We don't have any feelings towards the players personally because we don't know them as like that. Ours is just based on cricket and cricket only. So we questioned why Reza, I'm gonna call their names even. We questioned why Reza and Rasi were in the squad. And a reason that came up was experience, which is valid, to be honest. They've played enough cricket, be it domestic cricket or be it international cricket. But in that final, where was that experience? The two of them were the slowest, two of the slowest scoring in the game, and that just put a lot of pressure on everyone else who was coming after them. But one thing I like about someone like Ruben Herman, when he came in, we were already in trouble because our number 2 and 3 batted slow. He didn't come in and bat slow. He was like, I'm gonna score quickly, then go out. Which is what basically T20 cricket is about. You either score quickly or you just go out. So for me, I think the turning point in that whole final against New Zealand was how fast the two guys scored. And Uriza, he started a bit quicker and then he slowed down, which is something I never understand why people slow down in T20 cricket. I never feel like there's a need to slow down. And one thing I saw on social media that I didn't like is Odievel Brevis getting criticized for the shot that he played, even though he was unlucky to to go out the way he went out. And then I kept seeing people say, um, play the ball on the ground. And I'm like, bro, he wasn't playing the ball on the ground. And that's how we got back into the game because he wasn't playing the ball on the ground. And the shot was on, to be honest. So what we do when we're coaching, what I say to my players is, if the shot is on, I'd rather have you going full on, getting caught. Then we know what we need to fix. If there's something to fix, if you were just unlucky, you were just unlucky. Instead of having you playing a half-hearted shot because you're worried about going out. And I think that's another thing that we need to try and avoid. We don't want to feed this fear of going out to players like Luandre and Brevis because it's going to change how they play. It's going to tame the animal that's inside of them. And then suddenly they're going to start scoring slower and their impact in the game is going to change as well. So I don't know what you think about that, Coachy. Do you think Brevis needs to tone down a little bit, as some have been saying? Some were even calling him selfish, and I'm like, I don't understand how people think. The reason we got back into that game was because of Brevis. I also do blame George Linder a little bit because I feel like he could have also taken the pressure of Brevis when they were batting together. Facing 10 balls and not scoring much in a T20 is criminal, especially if you're in the team as a finisher. So I don't know what your overall thoughts on that were. And the other question that I had for you, the way we approach the whole game, but I know our approach is affected by the kind of players that we have. When you've got Riza and Rasi in your top three, how you approach your innings is always going to be a bit old-fashioned, if I may say.
I'll start with Brevis. I think it will be hard to tame Brevis. So these people trying to talk Brevis into being tamed are not watching enough of Deval Brevis. All we're asking him is to pick which ones to hit because he's still going to hit them for six. He got us back into not just this game. There was a game earlier on against Zimbabwe where we were struggling against Zimbabwe and he took 20 odd off an over and won us that game. So we can't now complain because it didn't work. I do blame, if I want to say, use the word blame the other guys who, in that over, that last over, once Brevis was out, we still needed, 7 or 4, and that was still very possible. Because of the size of the boundaries, we didn't even need to hit sixes then. We still could get twos and win it that way.
Yeah.
twos and boundaries. So Linda, yes, could have done better. Coburn, I feel like he, he he got in and went for it. He got dropped first ball. So
Yeah.
I don't want to put he got dropped first ball. So I can't put blame on him. He muddled that one that he got dropped off. So he got in and hit. But with George Linder playing as a batsman, because he's bowling one over now, he needs to do a little bit more there and
Yeah.
get us over the line. We want Linda in this team. Sorry, let this not sound like I want Linda out. I want Linda in and around this team because of what, if he's used correctly, brings to this team, brings a balance that uh, we won't have without him.
Yeah. Especially if he's batting at 6. I'm a huge fan of having a lot of spin options. You've got Aiden Markram who can roll his arm over. Even though I do believe he's not a the kind of bowler who's going to bowl 10 every game or even more than 5 every game. He's one of those bowlers who are basically situational, based on the situation and based on the opposition, also based on how they are bowling on the actual day, which is not bad to have someone like that batting in your top 4. They can give you decent overs in a T20. You've got George Linder coming in at, I think he was coming in at 6, which I like. I like seeing him at 6. So I also feel like he needed to win that game for us. He needed to show why people have been calling for him to get back into the squad, but it didn't happen. But I guess it was just one of those days for him. But yeah, overall for me, to be honest, I was not happy with how we played that whole tri series. Even when we played against Zimbabwe, there were times I felt like if this was an Australian side, they would be approaching this a bit differently. But then again, I do acknowledge the fact that we had it's basically a young squad. It's basically a fringe squad. We don't have David Miller. We don't have Kagiso Rabada. We don't have Aiden Markram. So I'm keen to see how we're going to approach the game when we have everyone in the side. I'm keen to see the brand of cricket that we will play. Basically, because Ushuk recently took over the white ball team, so I want to see how he's going to. I know how his test team plays, and I love how his test team plays. But I'm now keen to see how his white ball teams are going to play. And speaking of that, we have a series against Australia. In Australia, we are playing T20s and ODIs, so it's a white ball series. We are playing 3 ODIs, I believe, and 3 T20s. And I've got the T20 squad here. I don't know if you've got any remarks in terms of the squad. Is there someone that you were not expecting to see? Is there someone that you are shocked to not see in the squad? For me, I think it's pretty much basic. I am surprised to see Urasi in the squad, considering I thought he was just a stopgap now because we were resting players. But based on what Coach Shukri has been saying, it seems he's impressed with how Urasi is playing, and we might even see him at the World Cup. I am surprised not to see Ruben Herman, but my my opinion is that this squad was decided before before even the series against Zimbabwe started. My opinion is that the two squads were probably picked on the same day, and then they were just confirmed after the final. Because we've got Aiden, we've got Corbin, we've got Dievold, we've got Nandre, who seems to be struggling a bit since returning from injury, but that's understandable. We've got George Linder, we've got Kwena, we've got Umuthosami, we've got Lungi, we've got Ngaba Peter, we've got Gilbert, Ubuluhandre Pretorius, Ukagiso Rabada, Ryan Rickleton, Tristan Stubbs, we've got Subrayan, and we've got Rasi Fanditasen. What are your thoughts on the T20 squad, Coach Hara, before we move on to the ODI squad?
As you said, we not looking forward, but we wanted to see how the batting lineup would shape up with everybody come back. We wanted to see if Riza and Rasi would remain in the squad. One that is not there is David Miller, but
Yeah.
he's playing some LMS cricket in England. I heard he's going to play some LMS in England. But with Shukri taking over, I've got a feeling that Aiden Marker might open the batting.
Yeah.
Get back to the top of the order, get South Africa off to a good start. One guy I feel really needs to put in a performance for me, maybe not for others, is Ryan Rickelton. I feel he needs to figure out his white ball game. We know he can play, but sometimes I feel like he's too eager to get runs on the board in T20s especially. So if he gets a goal, which I think he'll probably be one of the openers, fingers crossed he opens all wondering. But I think if he gets a chance, he needs to get runs. But as it stands, I feel like
who opens for you, coaching?
I would open with left-handers, but Shukri wants Aiden at the top. I would have gone with Luandre and Ryan Rickelton, but I've got a feeling Shukri will want Aiden at the top, which I'm still fine with if the top three is Aiden, Luandre, and Rickelton, or Aiden, Rickelton, and Luandre. I don't mind. That would have always been my top three, but I would have had Aiden at 3. So I don't mind how they structure that. I feel with how things are going, without David Miller, without Heinrico Clausen, I feel like Stubbs can come in a little lower down again, bring him in at 5 and 6 along with Divock Brevis, who a part of me wants him at 4, but I'm happy with him at 5. But a lot of me wants Divock Brevis coming in as earlier to change and break the game as he can. So 4, 5 for me, along with Stubbs, would be the core of my top 6.
Yeah. So Linda at 6, I'm guessing. So if 4 and 5 is between your top 3 is the lefties and Aiden, regardless of how you place them. And then you've got at 4, you've got Stabo. At 5, you've got Divock Brevis. At 6, you've got Linda. And 7, are we going for Cobbs?
A part of me, it's Australia, and those boundaries are huge, hopefully, which means we can go in with an extra spinner there. And then we'll see where we're playing Mutasami. Is he coming in at 7, 8? Because if we're playing Mutasami, then I'm happy with Corbin at 7 and Mutasami at 8.
Yeah.
Because that, I hate to say, lengthens our lineup. Because it's T20, we don't really need to be batting all the way to 9. Yeah. But having Mutasami and Linda and Coburn as our 3 all-rounders at 6, 7, and 8, I feel is good enough. Then we can go pure bowlers from there.
I just thought of someone now who I'm not seeing in the squad. Bjorn Forte. He went from being one of our main white ball spinners to not getting a contract to now not even making any of the squads. What's your take on that? What are your thoughts on that, Chisinji?
I always say this with the Proteas. We always want a lot of players in the squad and in the team, especially in the lineup. I feel like, especially without Keshav Maharaj in the T20 squad, it's odd not to have Bjorn. But Mutasami has, I think, proved himself and got in the goal by the nod from Shukri because of what he's done in the test matches. So Mutasami, I feel, is the reason why we do not have Bjorn in this team. Bjorn might feel there's 3 spinners in the squad, and he's not making. There's 4 spinners in the squad, and he's not making it in ahead of Subrayan and Peter, because I feel the other two are slightly different, with them bringing in the all-rounder factor. No, I was also shocked with Bjorn not making the squad, especially with Keshav Maharaj not making the T20 squad.
Yeah.
But I feel like Mutasami has impressed the coach Shukri in the test matches and even now again in Zimbabwe. But with 4 spinners in the squad, that's what I think he might feel is a little bit of an issue for him. But having said that, George Linder, left arm orthodox, gets in because he's not in as a left arm orthodox, but I feel like he's in the team as an all rounder. Mutasami is the guy I feel he might have competed with, but Mutasami is also an all rounder, so that might have just gone in ahead of him. So he might have been going head to head with Ngababita and Subrayan, but Subrayan brings the off spinner option as well, which is different to what Bjorn would have been bringing. Peter is wrist spin, so maybe it's a balance thing. I hope he's just not lost in the system and that's not him gone, because he is, especially in T20 cricket, he's very key for me because he bowls in the power play. I always say if you've got a spinner who can bowl in the power play, it changes the whole dynamic of your team, especially if you get bowled well in the power play, not just bowl in the power play.
I think he also wasn't happy about missing out on getting a contract. So yeah, I also hope he's not going to be lost in the system, but he's probably feeling let down, and I hope that fuels the fire in him. There's a season coming up ahead. All he needs to do is let the ball do the talking. Just let the ball do the talking, and the ball is definitely gonna talk. Because I think you raise something very important. I don't think Keshav is a power play bowler, by the way. So even when he's fit, I don't think is a power play bowler. George Linder, I don't think is a power play bowler. Prenelin, I don't think is a power play bowler. So I think someone like Bjorn, he doesn't necessarily turn the ball massive, but he's one of those spinners who either going to take wickets or they're just going to keep things quiet, which is key in T20 cricket, because now building those dot balls, allowing the other guys to try and take wickets. We also have an ODI series that we're going to play against Australia, Kochi. We're playing 3 ODIs starting on the, so the T20s are going to start on the 10th of August. I think that's about 2 weeks from now, if not just under 2 weeks. And then the first ODI is going to be on the 19th of August. ODI squad. Wait, before we move on to the ODI squad, just one question. Who would you have picked in the T20 side? Who's the one player you think maybe you could have picked in that T20 squad, if there is one?
I feel like there's Matthew Briscoe, who's always there and thereabout. He's not in the squad, but if we were going to keep someone who's versatile, who can bat anyway, he might have made it ahead of Rassie van der Dussen for me. But as a spare batter, not jumping in straight into the lineup, so I'm fine with him. Not fine, but I can understand him not playing. In the bowling department, I think right now we're covering most of our bases, but there's a guy who I don't understand how he's gone straight out of the squad, who was very key, and that's Bartman. So O'Neill has seemed to go from first 11 all the way out of the squad. I hope he's not injured. And I hope he's also not lost and will be back, because he's a quality bowler.
Yeah, I think after that one game, people sort of lost faith in him, but they forget that he's relatively new to international cricket. And these things happen, man. We saw Dale Steyn. How many runs did Dale Steyn fail to defend in that World Cup we lost to New Zealand? These things happen. They happen. Bowling at the death is like playing the lottery. You never know when you're gonna get it right. When you get it right, everyone praises you. When Oatmeal, I like calling him Oatmeal. I hope it's not offensive to him. When he gets it right, he gets it right. But we need to understand that sometimes he's gonna get it wrong, especially with death bowling. That's one thing I don't understand about a lot of fans. I remember seeing a lot of people complaining about Ulungi bowling his slower balls, but it's the same people who celebrate when he gets a wicket with the slower ball. Even with someone like Andile Peshokwai, when he was bowling his slower balls, people, when he gets it wrong, bowling wide because he's busy with the slower balls. But people don't understand the margin of error that you have with these balls. It's easy to just come up and bowl seam up length balls. It's easy. Sometimes it's even more easier for the batters to play that. So you need to try. For me, if you're trying something different, I don't care if you bowl a wide, we lose today, you're trying something different. It could work out when we need it the most one day. Because bowling in the nets, bowling your slower balls in the nets is not going to make much of a difference until you try it in a match situation where there's adrenaline, and in the nets you're too comfortable. Bruh, I've scored. I don't know how many runs I've scored in the nets. I don't know how many fifers I've taken in the nets, but we go match day, it's always different because a lot is happening in your head. Stakes are different. But yeah, I also would have had Matthew Britsky ahead of Orasi, to be honest. He's younger, more aggressive, versatile, like you said. He can open the batting. He can bat 3, he can bat 4. I don't like having him any lower than that. And then ODI squad, we've got Umkokeli back. Themba Bavuma, the Test Championship winning captain. We've got Corbin. We've got Matthew Bretsky. We've got Dievel Brevis. We've got Nandre Berger. We've got Tony Dizozi. There's a lot of talk around this, brah. People don't want to see this, brah, anywhere near the national team. And you know what's the worst thing is? The worst thing is they don't. I don't know, man. Why is it that we expect professional players to behave like they are sort of machines? Utoni is getting criticized because he chooses to be active on TikTok and make videos. Some of us enjoy actually watching those videos, but it doesn't mean he doesn't work hard just because he decides to be active on TikTok. And when you read the comments on Facebook, maybe if he spent more time at practice. Bruh, the video you saw on TikTok was literally just 10 minutes.
Was at practice.
Exactly. And it was just 10 minutes. You don't know what happened before and after that. But still, people use the 10 minutes to judge him. The assumption is that Tony doesn't work hard. He doesn't take his cricket seriously. But it's all from people who don't know him. I once actually had a back and forth with this other bra on Facebook who assumed that Sisanda Makala doesn't work hard enough. And I told them, bra, this guy used to play for my club. I used to go down to the nets even on a random Saturday morning, and you'd find Sisanda Makala bowling, and he was bowling heat without a batter. So people need to, I don't know, man. These players are human beings too. But let me not get emotional. From Tony, we've got the president himself, Aiden Makram. We've got Senaran Muthasami. We've got Ukeshav is going to be back. We've got Lungi. I'm so happy to see Ulungi bowling well again. Really happy. And you can see he's looking fresh. So I hope he stays fit and show people what he can do, because a lot of people don't respect the FBRA. We've got Luandre Pretorius. We've got Kagiso Rabada. We've got Ryan Rickleton. We've got Stabo and Subrin. And I think, to be honest, this is a very strong ODI squad, Coach R. What are your thoughts? I think this is it's a strong and balanced ODI squad, except we're missing Marco Jansen, who is currently injured.
Yeah.
We are missing David Miller, who is playing LMS.
He's playing last man standing in England.
LMS. I don't know why I'm thinking MLS. Last man standing. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing some LMS cricket in England. As you said, I think this is our strongest squad we could have picked. We've lost Klaassen, who's chosen to stop playing for South Africa. We've lost Janssen, as you said, to the broken finger. I heard successful surgery, so he is on his way back.
Yeah.
But even with that, we don't lose that much, especially at the all-rounder stakes with Corbin playing so well lately. Vian finally showing people who Vian is. So I feel like
I think I missed Vian Mulder's name. He's also in the squad. Sorry about that.
yeah. So with Vian Mulder and Corbin Bosch in there, I think we've got enough substitute for Marco for now. Bowling, we've got KG back. Hopefully he's fresh and rested. As you said, Lungi is starting to pick up bowling brilliantly again. Keshav, I'm not sure how fit he is because he also had an issue, I think, injury. So this looks like the best lineup we've got. He said something about Tony. I think South Africans don't like people being happy, so I don't mind those comments when they talk about Tony, because if you were to follow him on social media, you'd see that some of these happened straight after training, happened during camp with the team. So it's not like this man is going out at 12 o'clock for drinks with his friends. This is usually having fun with the team, making the environment where his job is and where he's putting in the hard yards in, making that a happy and nice environment. I'll always be on Tony's side when it comes to what he's doing there. I don't mind that. The runs have dried out a little bit, but he's a quality player and the runs will come back.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Coachy. I'm also big on people having fun. I am big on people enjoying themselves. Look, we played cricket. We know how hard it is. And cricket was hard for us, just playing age group cricket, provincials, playing club cricket. Even LMS, I played LMS bowls. It was hard. Now imagine for international players. These guys are playing international cricket. Imagine how hard it is for them. Imagine the weight on their shoulders. So if they're able to have fun without needing to be heavily intoxicated, because a lot of athletes who play international cricket or who play international sport tend to rely on being intoxicated just to relax, to just get the weight off their shoulders. So Tony doing what he's doing, for me, it's something that I support. He's having fun. And I know for a fact that his coaches are going to tell him when they feel like he's slacking. I do think he does have a bit of a technical issue, falling over, but that's something that can be fixed within a few sessions. It's something that can be sorted out. It's not a train smash. He's a quality player, like we said. He's a quality leader as well. So I think, like you said, South Africans don't like seeing people happy. And for me, sometimes it shocks me. Like this takes me back to some of the stuff that was being said about the under-19 boys. I don't know. A few years ago, I decided I'm going to stop reading comments on South African cricket pages. And I was a very happy person until I decided to go back to reading the comments. But I've decided to go back to not reading them, because I don't know how an adult can come onto a page and call a 17-year-old useless. For me, it never makes sense. And it will never make sense. Like, I understand that we always want to see our teams win. I understand that we want to see the SA under-19 boys winning every single game, but it's almost impossible. Eventually, they're going to lose. They've been playing so well, and they beat Zimbabwe, they beat Namibia. They came across a quality Bangladesh side, a side that's slightly better than them. and they were struggling, and that's okay. They're going to learn from that. They're going to grow from that. And the best thing about us is, as much as we sometimes struggle against Bangladesh under 19, we still hammer Bangladesh when it comes to senior cricket, because we know how to develop these players from junior cricket up onto senior cricket, which is something that Bangladesh has been struggling with for years. But yeah, Coach Arab, before we wrap it up, where does Vian Mulder bat in our ODI side? Is he our number 3 there as well, which is going to be another talking point, which is going to be another massive debate. Vian Mulder is not a number 3. He doesn't bat 3 for the Lions. But where does Vian Mulder bat? Who's opening the batting for you? Let's start there. Let's start with the openers. Are we going Aiden Markram, Ryan Rickleton, Aiden Markram, Luandre Pretorius? Who else? Aiden Markram, Matthew Breetzke. I think he scored a big 100 not so long ago, opening the batting. Oh, wait. Not Aiden Markram. Temba Bavuma. Are we going Temba Bavuma, Matthew Breetzke, Temba Bavuma, Ryan Rickleton, Temba Bavuma, Luandre Pretorius? Temba's captain, so he's opening the batting, and I hope he doesn't move from opening the batting.
It depends on Shukri. Honestly, it depends on Shukri, because I feel like Shukri might again want the president to open. So if that happens, then at the moment, with what I have here, there's a lot of people I wouldn't mind seeing in that top 3, top 4, which is usually better than having someone who you'd rather not have in that top 4. Yeah. But a top 4 with, let's just give you 4 names. A top 4 with Temba, Aiden, Luandre, and Ryan Rickleton. That's brilliant for me. I don't mind that. That's beautiful. Which Stubbs and Braver still to come anywhere below that, or even getting Bravers in at my Stubbs in at 4, so we can have Bravers at 5. We've got a lot of options, and then in this one, there's one name I haven't mentioned, because I've now mentioned all the batsmen, is Tony Tizzozi, but I think he might be the one who's losing out in this top 6 for me for now.
You also didn't mention Matthew Breetzke.
That's what I'm saying, right? Actually, for the 50 over game, we might not have one of the kids. I think Ryan Rickleton takes Luandre out of the batting lineup. So that's the sore but honest assessment I'm thinking right now. So we've got Ryan Rickleton opening with Temba Bavuma, Aiden Markram in at 3. I think 4 is where it gets interesting, because you want Stubbs to get in and get in early. So Matthew Breetzke misses out there, and I've got Stubbs at 4. Bravis coming off a brilliant series in Zimbabwe. I've got him coming in at 5. And then we've got Vian Mulder coming in at 6 as a batsman who bowls a bit.
So where does Linde come in? Where does George Linde come in? Are we coming in at 7, or is he going to come in lower than 7?
I don't think George Linde is in the ODI squad.
No, George Linde is not in the ODI squad, which is another shocker. So probably Corbin's going to come in 7. But then that's going to make your side seamer heavy. Unless you're going to go, if Corbin comes in at 7, you go in with 2 spinners.
Mutasami and Kesh after that. Feel like I've got this feeling that.
Sorry, you can go Subrayan and Kesh.
Yeah, we can go in with those, but I feel like we don't have a number 7. Once you don't have a number 7, you want to have 2 8s.
Yeah.
if you get what I'm saying, which is why then Mutasami sort of gets in ahead of Subrain that way. But nah, we could go in with 7 batsmen and 4 bowlers and hope that Aiden and Brevis bowl a few. And then we have Jan Mulder as one of your all-rounders. Then you can have Coburn at 8, and then have Lungi and KG.
You know, I think this is a very strong squad, but I think also it's a very difficult squad to pick an 11 from. Especially if you're considering recent form and stuff like that. You had Matthew Pretzke, who scored a big 100 in ODIs not so long ago. You've got Temba. I think Temba has 350s in his last 3 innings in ODI cricket. You've got Aiden Markram, who's also been scoring runs. I think the only person who's not difficult to drop is Utoni because of the form he's been in. You've got Luandre, who just scored a beautiful 50 in T20 cricket. You've got Dewald Brevis, who is easily the only guy in the side now who can come in 5-6 and look to finish the game for you.
Yeah, there's nobody sticking out. There's no top 6 that sticks out as the top 6 that has to play. There's a feeling of I wouldn't mind anybody in this lineup in that top 6. Just need to make sure that Aiden is in it. The rest we can juggle around. I'll be happy with most of the players playing. I feel like Stubbs needs to prove himself to some of the doubters already. That's how quickly South African fans turn on you. So he is one I feel needs to go to Australia and perform. Doesn't need to score huge runs, but just needs to show us again that he can get in and get going and score those crucial runs for South Africa.
Yeah, it's I think on this side it's a matter of should you get a chance, grab it with both hands. I think it's a matter of should you get to play, you need to make sure you cash in, especially the batters. I think the batters, should you get a chance, make sure you go big, you score a match-winning 100, then the selectors will be thinking twice about dropping you. And that's how I see the squad. So if you miss out, just make sure that you are ready whenever you get called upon. You play and you do your thing. Coach Ara, Donovan Ferreira, we're not seeing him in any of the squads. People have been asking, but he's also playing LMS. In the UK. So to anyone who's wondering why Donovan Ferreira is not there, I'm assuming that he would have been picked because I think after losing Heinrich Klaasen, you need someone like Donovan Ferreira. And you know what makes me sad, Coach Ara, is that a lot of people have not seen the best of that bra. A lot of cricket fans have not seen. A lot of cricket fans have not seen the best of Donovan Ferreira. I got to watch him bat. I'll never forget the day. I got to watch him bat here at Pearson during USA 2019. I was so tired because I was part of the LOC. I fell asleep for like 10 minutes. When I woke up, the guy was on 100. And then he scored a 150 or something, and he was hammering balls into people's yards. And I'm like, this guy. But yeah, hopefully people are going to get to see the best of Donovan Ferreira, the real Don.
There's a reason we say the only Don we recognize. Because some Dons were playing against the only Don we recognize, because some Dons played against underarm bowling and guys coming straight from work, coming straight from the mine.
As well.
Yeah, coming straight from a night shift from the mine to bowl an over. But jokes aside, we do feel like Donovan Ferreira needs to be in that middle to lower order. And it's like I do not want to. We joke around saying that they're playing LMS in England. We just hope that it's discussed and structured with the coach and CSA, and we don't lose players to these franchises. I don't think we lose David Miller. I also hope that Don will be back and playing. He just misses out for this. What do they call it? 100 tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, no, spot on. Thank you for the great show again, Coach Ara. Enjoyed it. I think our next episode is going to be on the SA20. We've seen the people that are getting retained. Interesting, Uaid and Makram, but I'm not going to touch on that. We're going to touch on that when we talk about the SA20 on its own. But yeah, Coachy, I don't know if you've got any closing remarks, and then we can call it a day so you can enjoy being in the dark.
I was about to say we pushed through. We didn't run out of battery before the show needed to end, so that's a positive. On that auction, we're looking for a new team, Aiden and I. So the team that takes Aiden, I'm joining. Got the new fan.
No, I hear you. I'm not gonna say anything on that. He's my president, but I don't know if I'm keen to move around with him. So whoever gets to sign him will probably sign him and you only. I'm not sure yet, but I'm still gonna have a chat with him and ask if he wants me to come with you guys. Considering that side is my side here in the Eastern Cape, so I'm a bit caught in two minds, but we must still discuss these things and maybe get my lawyer and everyone to get involved. But yeah, I hope whoever's going to be watching is going to enjoy the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. See you on our next episode. Me and Spinach signing out.
Cheers.